Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Local Revenue Subcommittee. Today we will be hearing 8 bills. We will not vote on any of these bills today. We will just have a discussion. So we will start off with House Bill 203. Stan, would you read the synopsis?
So this bill is Delegate Attar's bill, and it makes someone who did not apply for the homestead credit in the previous year but would have been eligible able to get the credit retroactively just for that 1 year.
Any questions on this bill? Anybody had any concerns with this bill? No? Delegate Patterson, were you saying something? Can't hear you.
Oh, here I am. Yes. Is there a timeline for this bill? You said 1 year if they did not apply for it in the prior year?
Correct.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah, so the bill is cross-filed with SSTAT. It's a departmental bill. There's a minimal impact on the fiscal note. So it's nothing earth-shattering. And we just wanted to make sure that everybody was able to hear the bill. If there was any discussion, we could have it. Seeing none, we will move on to House Bill 204. Stan.
So this is also Delegate Attar's bill. It's also a cross-file of an SSTAT departmental bill. So this would allow a person to get the homeowner's credit retroactively for 1 year if one of two circumstances applies. Either they're a first-time applicant or they applied for each of the prior 3 years before they failed to apply. So that's the bill.
Any questions, comments, and/or concerns? Delegate Bolton.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair. I thought, what is the current law on this right now? Because I had thought that if you were over 70 in a number of the counties that you don't even have to worry about that credit to start with.
If you're over 70, you're eligible for up to 3 years of retroactive credits under current law.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Delegate Hartman.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So with the 3-year history of getting it, so you're saying what's the limitation? How many years you go back? Is this allowing 3 years or just one?
Just one.
Okay. Okay. So, and Delegate Butler, the question about the 70 or over, how did you know that? No, just kidding.
That's brutal.
Any other questions? All right, seeing none. House Bill 215, Stan.
So this bill would link the depreciation of personal property for purposes of Maryland's personal property tax to the IRS rules instead of the rules the state currently has. So the state's rules are different. There's different depreciation schedules for different types of property, and in Maryland, personal property can never completely depreciate for almost all categories of property, whereas that does happen under the federal schedule. So that's what this bill is about, is adopting the federal schedule as opposed to Maryland's unique rules.
Yeah, but this bill also, the state and local expenditures increased from 250,000 to roughly 300,000 locally. And the local personal property tax may also be affected by this. So this is a little concerning. Any questions? Delegate Attar.
I'm trying to check, but Mako opposed this, right?
I believe so, Stan.
Let me look.
I don't have it in front of me.
Yes,
Yeah.
they did oppose.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to read it now.
Any other questions? Delegate Hartman.
Thanks, Mr. Chair. So just clarifying, so if I remember correctly, what this was doing, like computers and stuff actually, diminish over time to worthless. But the way under the current state, it never depreciates down to nothing. Whereas if we go by the RS, it's going to be more accurate with, different personal property having a different useful life and coinciding with what's more acceptable, correct?
Correct. But the issue is the personal property taxes and how that affects local government.
Local revenue,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
But I mean, isn't fair?
Yeah. I mean, fair is fair, but what we don't want to do is put the locals at a disadvantage. And I think with all the intention of this bill, it would do that. That's why Mako is opposing it. Delegate Bowler.
Yeah, I just want to understand that when they're saying the revenue, the cost is increasing, right?
Mm-hmm.
But is that spread over the entire state of Maryland and all the locals?
Right, and every local jurisdiction is different. So the impact from one
The total,
jurisdiction and another is still different. Even though the total may be spread out,
right?
right? The total is spread out across, but each jurisdiction impact is differently.
Well, I would think that, if you're spreading that cost over the entire state, that's kind of minimal to the locals.
Once again, it just depends on the local. Some locals can afford it or absorb it, and some can't.
Gotcha. Okay.
Delegate Armour, are you saying something, or you just?
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. I had my hand up before and it never went down, so I didn't think you'd recognize it going, staying there. So can we make it enabling, whereas counties can do it if they wish and not if they have concern? Because I really think this is the most fair for our businesses, that if we align the depreciation with what's accepted federally by the IRS, I think it's the most right thing to do for our businesses. If a particular municipality didn't want to do it, then so be it. That's on them.
Yeah, I think that's something that we can definitely look at. But that's why we're having this discussion. Stan, did you want to say something?
Just say it has a lot of complexity to a process that's already pretty complex. And I suppose businesses, if they have property in more than one county or in a county and a municipality, they would have to compute it differently depending on how they've chosen to do it locally. And the costs that you see in the fiscal note are actually SSTAT's administrative costs for administering this more complex federal system for depreciation. So that would be incurred regardless. And then the impact on local revenues is unknown. So that would be an additional cost.
Yeah. That's the reason why it's somewhat complex. Any other questions? Delegate Branch. Okay. House Bill 224, Stan.
So this bill takes the current property tax exemption for disabled veterans and surviving spouses. And currently for that exemption, you have to have 100% disability rating. This would take that down to 80%.
So this bill is similar to a bill that we heard earlier, House Bill 103, which was Delegate Brooks' bill. So Delegate Brooks' bill and Crosby bill somewhat mirrors each other. Am I correct, Stan?
Yeah, Delegate Brooks's bill would have made the amount of the credit equal to the veteran's percentage of disability. So 70% disabled, 70% credit. For this bill, there's a current 100% exemption, and it would just say if you're 80%, at least 80% disabled, then you would get the 100% exemption.
And with Delegate Crosby bill, it decreases local revenue by almost 13 million. Any questions? Seeing none. House Bill,
I had a question.
oh, I'm sorry.
Sorry.
Delegate Patterson.
I am so sorry. It seems like, oh, here I am. In this one, they're talking about surviving spouses, saying, so in the others, do they also address surviving spouses?
That's a good question. I don't remember in Delegate Brooks's bill if they do. I
Yeah.
think it does, but I'd have to check.
Okay.
So,
I can check too, as well.
But yeah, I think that's a good point, Delegate Patterson. We will make sure that's part of the language we can look at.
Thanks.
All right. House Bill 268, Stan.
so this bill would exempt a business with total business personal property valued at less than 20,000 from personal property tax, and they also wouldn't have to file the annual return, the personal property tax return either. And it has a $1.5 million fiscal note for the locals, spread out among all of them.
Yeah. Any questions?
What was the bill number again? Sorry.
That was 268.
Thanks.
No problem, Delegate Branch. Delegate Butler.
Yeah, so this is not enabling legislation, is that right, Stan?
No, it's mandatory.
Because of that fiscal note on it, what would it do if we made it enabling?
Yeah, that's certainly something you could do. I should say Mako did not oppose. Mako actually supports this bill, and
Okay.
MML
Oh, okay.
didn't oppose it.
Yeah. Any other questions? House Bill 302, Stan.
Okay, this is a local bill, Delegate Stein. So it would allow the Baltimore County Council to have a supplemental homeowners property tax credit for persons who can demonstrate that they had a financial hardship, such as an illness or damage to their home or something like that. We don't have a delegation letter for this bill yet.
Yeah, and this would have a significant increase of about 1.4 million annually locally, correct?
Yeah, that's one estimate. It wasn't a real firm estimate, but that was what the fiscal note said.
Yeah. Any questions? Seeing none. House Bill 309, Stan.
Another Baltimore County local bill from Delegate Long, providing notice to persons who might be eligible for the homestead credit but haven't received it, but it's specifically aiming at people who may be renting the property. But we don't have a delegation letter for this yet.
And was there a fiscal note?
Sorry, I don't have that in front of me. I'll have to
Okay.
check.
Yeah, there is a fiscal note to it.
What was it?
I'm trying to see if, let me see.
Over here, it says state effect is none and local effect. Baltimore.
It says, oh, go ahead.
It says Baltimore County can handle the bill's requirements, assuming a limited number of notifications.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Any other questions on 309? Seeing none. House Bill 394, Stan.
So this is a local bill for Prince George's County. It just changes the reporting date for certain reports relating to the municipal tax set off, public safety surcharge, and so forth. Basically just lines them all up for one date rather than at different dates throughout the year. And we do have a delegation letter for this.
And the delegation approved this. Any questions? Seeing none. I believe that concludes our discussion.
Mr. Chairman, can I just answer Delegate
Yep.
Patterson's question from earlier?
Okay, absolutely.
So Delegate Brooks's bill, House Bill 103, does not actually address surviving spouses. So just to answer your question.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions? We will meet again next Wednesday, right after public hearings. We may discuss some additional bills and we may vote on a couple. So just look out for that as we continue to move forward. As you all know, we're on the floor on Tuesday and Thursday of next week. So next week should be a busy week. So just stay tuned. Thank you guys so much.